blood color sensed by open fingertips.
During the Big Melt, a huge defrosted body was found ashore in an astonishingly well condition from approximately 150 years ago. Since its unfreezing was initiated, scientists have been puzzled. After democratically negotiating about the future enterprises with these newly discovered objects, they decided to put up observation decks and wait. Scientists interpret it as the incarnation of a self-referential social construct, containing more objects to be conceived as entities on a smaller scale. The giant findings look eternally inert, like an interface with access points, not updated for a long time. Due to the increased occupation of the research site by an ancient species of Earth, the ant kind, the scientists' assembly decided to refer to the place as gigant. Ants are 400 times older than Homo sapiens. The humans' misleading cognitive facilities of self-individuation back then caused what became known as the Big Melt, and they made themselves disappear vastly from the sphere of the visible. The ants, with their sophisticated social organization and the synchronization of every individual's desire directed towards an anticipated goal, managed to systematically tap into giant territory, working through it, forming tunnels as well as access points, and thereby slowly turning it into soil.
The access points are the sentences that help to understand. These access points are accomplished by the ants that collectively tear up the giant on specific points. A collective entity enters the excavation site in columns, penetrates and pierces it with needles and rods to create entries, to make use of its inside.
After thorough debate, examination, and analysis, following conclusion came to be. Gigant can neither be defined as an artifact nor as a natural object, as its roots keep being unclear. Observers came to agree that once alive, the giant was certainly an inaccessible and completely closed entity. But today, it can be observed to be an arrangement of multiple and diverse materialities. As common understanding has now long moved away from universalist and categorical thinking because it proved to be substantially insufficient, the research group easily understood the plurality forming the view they discovered. They faced an only seemingly unified entity.
Archeology is the study of past conscious activity through the recovery and analysis of materials. Archaeologists study human prehistory and history from the development of the first stone tool 3.3 million years ago up to recent decades. Archaeology is particularly important for learning about prehistoric societies for whom there may be no written records to study. Prehistory includes over 99% of the human past, from the Paleolithic until the advent of literacy in societies across the world. Archaeology has various goals, which range from understanding cultural history to reconstructing past lifeways to documenting and explaining changes in human societies through time.
A few remaining neck-deep human archaeologists set off to explore the excavation site of the giant. By that time, individual liberalism and the cultivation of the self had long become historical, because they had turned into a repressive form of exclusion and they had completely disrupted systems of social organization. Some like to conclude, identity, as it was widely known, relied thoroughly on the existence of an other.
Majorities are often used to control other people. A shared identity is often materialized for the wrong, biased reason.
I should take the stone to my mommy. My mommy is an archaeologist. That means she digs for ancient treasure. She'll know what to do with an ancient treasure.
The human archaeologists came across this uncooled corpse of the giant that challenged their structural ideologies, which they've been dragging unconsciously into identity-enhancing narratives about their culture into the present.
Archaeology has been used by nation-states to create particular visions of the past.
Sadly, patriarchal structures from the past persisted to rule over the majority of modes of collective organization, and rusty notions of temporal continuity and chronology still dominate the common discourse about history and future. That they never found their way out of their own ever-repetitive, self-referential, lived and individualistic narratives made the specters furious. How we evaluate the past is essentially biased by the specific moral, cultural, and societal criteria directing how we live today and how society is organized in the present. We can listen to and tell stories about the past, but about the future, we can only speculate. We can put something together out of past experiences. This is why we have to decide which specters of the past we will drag with us into the future and which ones we better perforate, bury, or leave behind. Inclusive xenofuturities can be spawned by welcoming the positively created ghosts and condemning the negative and disruptive specters. Neolithic spirits aren't less legitimate because they are older. Archaeological sites and findings can unravel material specters of the past and enable their anachronological reinvocation to reanimate narratives. The acknowledgement of multiple modes of belonging, as well as stories of emergence, allow us to get a broader vision on what existence can mean.
Closed histories are the ones that bury the bodies of the dead nearby. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Beyond any lithosphere lies the real body.
Some compressed, exhausted individuals can be found at the giant access points. Due to their scarce number, the corridors leading inwards rarely amalgamated and connected. Those individuals who found access before the big melt seem to have fallen into a lonely, delirious sleep inside, due to a ceaseless struggle with erroneous articulation and expression. They were left behind with mere ideas and flat concepts circulating in their minds. Self-reference does not help to bring a conversation further. A note of communication only works through the individual trust between referents. To understand what the other is saying, one may have to look beyond what is shown. Constant re-evaluation of present relations and events is therefore indispensable, so to repeatedly question the ideas underlying the actions we take or contribute to, be it actively or passively. This rapture is the intentional, hypothetical deconstruction of long manifested ideologies. As a method, it develops ideas that can be had about the future and the past.
The head of the Tollundman, the hand of Obregon, relics that become accessories for analytical history.
All specters shall be disruptured and freed from their wholly moralized glow. They should be taken by the hand and welcomed as one of us, as of now, and become ritually demythified. The strategy of identity construction shall be reappropriated as a disruptive tool. The rigid borders set around cultural memory define and encode progressive agendas. Vague promises of endless ongoing progress and rapture shall be uncovered.
The possibility to duplicate knowledge should be considered and respected.
All the incessant knowledge labor just opaque the immanence of the living spectre in animating the giant. although, since its defrosting, it was more alive than ever before. Looking back, one can say that the ants overtaking it were also the ones inhabiting and inanimating it. They found, received, and then venerated their new red queen.
Queen isn't the right word, but it's the first word that comes to mind.